Welcome, Simon. It's a pleasure having you here to discuss the UAE-Africa relationships from a business perspective. And my first question would be, how do you see the UAE-Africa relationships evolving, both from a business perspective and from a regulatory perspective?
Tommaso, thanks firstly, and good to be in Dubai. I haven't been here for a little while, but it's great to be on the ground. I think what is really interesting about the Africa-Dubai and UAE perspective is that there's been a lot of momentum and growth, both in terms of interest and then investment that's taking place. I think we're seeing a shift from more of an ad hoc approach to Africa to a more sustainable investment channel. As you may know, I talk a lot about investment corridors. And as we've been doing, and I've been working with others in the team as well, there's been a greater focus on not just looking at, but establishing more of the usage of the corridor. So what you're seeing is longer term investment into Africa from the UAE. And obviously with the rise and growth of the UAE itself, just in terms of its infrastructure, the tax regime, banking, etc., it's become a much more useful and long-term play for Africa.
Yeah, so fantastic. Thank you, Simon. And why do you think the UAE works so well for African businesses that are scaling internationally?
I think, look, great question. And it's not just for the UAE-Dubai-Africa corridor. I think what we've seen is a rise just in terms of the UAE as a dependable hub. And a hub in the sense that it does work for Africa too. So we're talking neutrality, we're talking time zones, we're talking banking infrastructure, and the ability for a whole range of professional services, including ours, to be able to operate in a stable environment. I think that's the basis for the Africa corridor there.
Yeah, and I fully agree. When it comes to accessing high-skilled talent, Dubai in particular, but the UAE in general, is a fantastic hub. The ease of bringing foreign qualified talents in the UAE made it a hub to be able to access qualified professional, qualified advisors. And then to touch upon your accessibility to a wider market, funny enough, the UAE can access 2/3 of the global populations within an 8 hours flight, right? So that makes a fantastic logistic hubs, reducing also the time to market for most of the businesses that choose the UAE as a hub, tapping into the African corridor as well. So Simon, where are you seeing strong flowing opportunities between Africa and the UAE at the moment?
There are a couple of sectors, and it's not just actually about the UAE-Africa corridor, but to be specific on the sectors, we see energy transition, agriculture, fintech, natural resources for the obvious reasons that we know today. And I think what we find here is that the ability for African companies to access capital, as you say, to access talent as well, and find the right kind of offshore structuring, the UAE has become a much more dependable and interesting hub for that.
Yeah, and I think this also plays well with the UAE oil diversification policies. So the UAE is currently deriving about 75% of their GDP from non-oil activities, and this is an ongoing transformation of the economy that has been taking place over the last few years in the UAE. So being able to leverage this push from the local authorities and local governments with the energy sector in Africa, I think also reinforces and strengthens the connections between the UAE and Africa as well.
I agree, and I think, you know, if one looks at Africa and UAE in a slightly simplistic way, what you've had in the UAE over the past 25 years is a real drive towards dependability, sustainability, and a sophistication in a number of different ways that Africa finds promising, and I use the word Africa just because we talk corridors as opposed to specific countries. And that ability by the UAE to provide and offer those sorts of services, that ability and that stability, creates a very interesting corridor there.
So Simon, which sectors do you see with the most compelling opportunities in the cross-border trades between Africa and the UAE at the moment?
If one looks at food security as one, it's a very interesting one in the sense that the UAE requires that. Africa obviously is a producer of a range of basket of food goods. and the drive through a number of different ways in which the agricultural businesses in Africa are producing agricultural products, the infrastructure to support that. We're seeing a drive through into the UAE for that reason. So there's a very good saying, and this is very much just in terms of the way Dubai is operating, but we see Dubai as the control tower and Africa as the engine room. So there's a very clear differentiation and distinction. We're containing risk at the Dubai level when we're operating in Africa, and it's not dissimilar, funnily enough, to our Mauritius Africa strategy.
Yeah, and I think this is a key point. The fact that the UAE, in certain jurisdictions within the UAE, it's possible to avail common law versus the rest of the mainland options in the UAE is a key factor for international investors to set up a presence in the UAE, because availing a common law framework essentially gives predictability to investors, and they know what to expect when setting up, as you said, a holding company or structures in the UAE to manage the operational entities in Africa or in other jurisdictions, right? So yeah, this is what we find a key element, especially in jurisdictions such as the DIFC or the ADGM in the UAE, right? And they can also access separate courts from the Dubai or Abu Dhabi courts. So yeah, this is what we find to be a key element for international investors.
And I think continuing on that, that's again the offerings and the ability for UAE to provide a range of different environments, whether it be tax, regulatory, or otherwise, helps to differentiate from other markets as well. I think added to that, obviously access to capital, access to talent, all of those things are very, very important for Africa. There's more fundraising that takes place outside of Africa than in Africa by a huge margin. And what we do then is look for channels to be able to create the structures and administer them through these corridors like UAE-Africa, Mauritius-Africa.
Thank you, Simon. How are companies structuring their presence when it comes to the UAE-Africa corridor?
One needs to break it down into a number of different factors. I think governance is a very important one, and then also ring fencing. Traditionally, and the continuation of that, we have African operating companies. As I said before, we manage risk within those companies. And then from a governance point of view, from a capital raising point of view, from a management and a servicing point of view, a great deal can take place in the UAE. It gives access, as I said before, to fantastic banking facilities, a whole range of infrastructure opportunities that help facilitate that relationship between the African entity and the UAE entity.
Yeah. And this is a very good point. And I think the UAE has been on a journey towards increasing transparency for foreign investors. So the fact that the UAE has updated its regulatory framework and its tax framework as well has been hugely important for investors when looking at the UAE, Dubai and Abu Dhabi in particular, knowing that the UAE has introduced corporate income tax, VAT, has strengthened their MAL and KYC checks. This has reinforced the UAE as a financial hub for international investors. So when looking at setting up, as we were saying before, the holding companies, the SPVs, the regional headquarters, now the UAE is perceived also not just as a tax favorable jurisdictions, but as a jurisdiction that is valuing transparency, is valuing investors that bring value to the UAE economy in itself, going just beyond their structures, legal entities that remain keys, as you were saying.
And I think this is absolutely critical to the way Africa sees UAE and externally the way investors see UAE. If we look at Jersey, if we look at Mauritius, I think providing scalability but substance and a sophistication that takes time, a trusted environment, the right kind of regulatory environment, tax environment. And I think that's what is now starting to place UAE right in the center of what we're doing in Africa. As you said before, it's an extremely good hub, and it gives us access within 8 or 9 hours to 2/3 of the world's population. All of those things are absolutely critical for what we're aiming to achieve further in Africa.
Yeah, and it's becoming a true logistic hub where international airports, deep water ports are now a staple of the UAE economy. So what we realize is businesses in a variety of industries are choosing Dubai and the UAE for its connectivity. So the regional railway project, the international airports, deep water ports, they're facilitating the commodity trading for the UAE being at the center of the Europe, Africa, and Asia routes. What challenges do companies seize when structuring their presence in the UAE with regards to the Africa-UAE corridor?
I think a lot of it has to do with risk and liquidity. Traditionally, Africa has been seen as a continent where risk is relatively high and illiquidity is quite high too. So the way in which we're structuring between UAE and Africa, the same as with Mauritius Africa, Jersey Africa, is we split out risk and liquidity, and those aren't the only two components, but they're very important ones. So by splitting out entities, an African operating entity and then a holding entity in the UAE, for example, we split out the operational risk and the management administrative risk. And then from a liquidity point of view, having banking operations here in the UAE is central to the investment and capital flows that are coming in and the ability to control those. So the liquidity coming out of Africa, A, is tax efficient, and B, is being able to be processed in a way that investors are feeling much more comfortable about.
Yeah, fantastic, yes. And I would add that the openness in the UAE when it comes to the regulatory perspective is facilitating the international investment flow into the UAE. So the fact that the UAE was at the forefront at opening up to foreign shareholders when it comes to structuring presence in the UAE was key to give the UAE an edge versus jurisdictions in the GCC region, thinking about Saudi, Qatar, Bahrain. So that has led the UAE as the hub for the region at the moment. In this sense, how do you think Hawksford can help international investments flow into the UAE with regards to this?
I'll try and answer that in a short way, but I think there are a number of advantages that Hawksford does have. One is its scale and the interconnectedness between regions. And I think that is a very powerful and very important factor because we talk about corridors. 99% of capital raised for venture capital globally last year was done offshore Africa, only 1% raised on the African continent. What that means, therefore, is that you've got to have channels and you've got to have the right kind of administrative partner to help structure and then execute these kinds of deals. So with the ability that we have from a Hawksford perspective in different regions, for instance, the UK, Jersey, Europe, Asia very importantly, and then those hubs and transfer corridors into the UAE through Dubai, through Mauritius, etc. What we're able to do as a business is facilitate a whole range of things. So from upstream all the way through to downstream investment into your African operating entity, you've got a partner in that regard.
Fantastic. I couldn't have said it better. I would just add that our on-the-ground support when it comes specifically to the UAE is what our clients find very important, and our connections with the local ecosystem. So when it comes to government bodies, when it comes to the local chamber of commerces, the free zones authorities, so on and so forth, and the access to this network is what our clients find very important, because as Hawksford, we try to go beyond the administration of the entities, the local compliance, the tax filings, but it comes to understanding the client needs and how we can be perfectly positioned to making the right introductions and supporting their journey of expansion in the UAE.
And I think a final point on that is that the importance of having an on-the-ground presence that is experienced and professional and intelligent is absolutely critical to each of the hubs that we use for investment into Africa. We're a little bit more nimble and flexible on the ground in Africa, i.e. we don't have 15 different offices across 15 different jurisdictions in Africa. What is really important is the right kind of advice and then support ongoingly in our hubs like Mauritius, Dubai, Jersey, etc. And I think that is very important for our clients as well, to have that understanding and that comfort that we've got on the ground presence here.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.